With countless people now having donned the Venom symbiote, it can get more than a little confusing tracking exactly who had the alien creature at one time. Start trying to think about Venom's alien babies like Carnage, and the whole thing gets even more complex, leaving you feeling like some kind of conspiracy theorist for trying to follow it at all. There are also a lot of people who have joined with the symbiote that you wouldn't expect. So, I'm Yoon from What Culture Comics, and here's what happened to everyone who wore a symbiote.
Number 22. FANG FOOM. Whoever's idea it was to hand Daniel Warren Johnson the keys to Beta Ray Bill should really give themselves a pat on the back, because the creator and Corbinite have proven to be a match made in heaven. Johnson's kinetic art style is always a treat, but he managed to kick off his Bill comic with a bang by having the wielder of Stormbreaker take on a symbiote-infected FANG FOOM, who'd been sent by Null to attack Asgard. Bill manages to defeat the dragon with a little help from Sif and the Odin Son, but there's still no overestimating what a terrifying prospect a symbiote-infected dragon actually is. Number 21. Every hero during Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's Venom run. Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's Venom run will ultimately go down as one of Marvel's most epic, and while it has had plenty of highlights, one of the best has to be King in Black, which saw a number of different Marvel heroes consumed by corrupted symbiotes. Also, side note, in the previous event, Absolute Carnage, Miles Morales also finally got his own symbiote, which was really cool too. Cates and Stegman's run had already redefined the symbiotes from top to bottom, building off of Brian Bendis and Valerio Schitti's work on Guardians of the Galaxy, but King in Black went about taking everything 10 steps further. The event comic sees Null and his corrupted army conquer the galaxy on their way to Earth. Once there, they proceed to infect a number of different heroes with different symbiotes. Like, a lot. Among the infected heroes include Captain America, Human Torch, and Iron Man, but two of the more interesting additions include Daredevil and Typhoid Mary. After resisting Null, which is a pretty big feat by the way, the man without fear has to strap himself into the electric chair to zap his symbiote off him, while Mary, at this point in time a bodyguard to Wilson Fisk, has her entire system of alter personalities thrown into disarray after being taken over by one too.
Number 20. Telkar. Telkar is canonically the first host of the Venom symbiote. However, this is mostly overlooked because Telkar is an alien. Venom bonded with Telkar after the Kree race decided to weaponize the creature, using it in the war against the Skrulls, where it would act as a spy for the Kree forces. This first bond saw itself be cut short when the pair were caught in a ship crash, with Venom having its memories of the host wiped as a result. The first host would hunt Venom's offspring down, trying to bond to the newly created Sleeper. Proving that this was perhaps not his best option, the symbiote would lobotomize Carr, using his body as a host while he explored the galaxy, proving that Venom could be significantly worse to its host than they are to him. Number 19. Deadpool. Deadpool would discover the abandoned symbiote in the battle world and would adopt the clothing-based critter before realizing that his new garments were in fact sentient. Hilariously, the mercenary's concerns were not about his own safety, but that of Venom's, as he grew concerned that the alien would be affected by Deadpool's unstable mind and take on his negative characteristics. He then leaves it for Spider-Man to try on, and voila, the canonical reason for Venom originally being crazy is down to Wade Wilson himself. Number 18. Peter Parker. In the first Secret Wars series, we see Peter take the symbiote in order to repair his old clothing, remaining totally unaware of Venom's true nature. When Parker did uncover that his new swanky suit was actually alive, he naturally attempted to get rid of it. This didn't actually prove effective in the long term, as it would only provoke Venom into trying to possess Spider-Man once more, as it considered him the perfect human host. Peter briefly rebonded with the symbiote the other year, but they've remained apart for the last few decades. Number 17. The Richards family. In a series of possessions that are quite often forgotten in the timeline of those who wore the symbiote, Venom's escape from being incinerated by Peter Parker and the Fantastic Four involved the creature possessing Sue Storm, Reed Richards, and Franklin Richards, jumping between the family members in order to try and escape capture. This plan would run short when Venom tried to remain attached to Franklin, who would be able to break free from the symbiote and allow it to be caught again. Number 16. Eddie Brock. Brock is likely the first person anyone would respond with when asked who has worn an alien symbiote. The third person to actually wield the alien beast, Eddie would also end up being the first to properly understand the creature, with the symbiote bonding more strongly to him than it would with anyone else in its collection of various hosts. Which is surprising given that, for a good portion of time, the symbiote actively despised Brock. Eddie is the current wearer of the Venom symbiote, although knowing comics, this is unlikely to be a permanent solution. Number 15. Cletus Cassidy. Cletus Cassidy was essentially personalized to hold the Carnage symbiote, with the serial killer being strangled by his own umbilical cord in the womb, only to be brought back from the dead by the evil god Null, who coincidentally was also the creator of the symbiotes. When the Venom symbiote creates an offspring, during the strange stint of time where Cletus and Brock room together in prison, the new creature immediately bonds to Cassidy, turning the already unstable murderer into a catastrophic threat. Cletus is currently still bonded to the symbiote after the pair were brought back to life by Null's cult, meaning that the already dead human host may pass away if he is separated from his alien pal. Number 14, Anne Weying. The first woman to wear a symbiote, Anne Weying had her already awkward relationship with ex-husband Eddie Brock become significantly more complicated when the journalist joined her with a Venom symbiote in order to save Weying from a lethal bullet wound. Anne would join once more with the alien after Brock sent her the creature through a telephone call, allowing her to break out of prison, a prison she had admittedly only ended up in because the creature had compelled her to commit murder in the first place. Understandably traumatized, a deeply disturbed Anne would end up killing herself as a result of these events. Grim. Number 13, the Life Foundation team. When Venom was captured by the Life Foundation, the organization would use its genetic material to create 5 symbiotes: Scream, Riot, Lasher, Agony, and Phage. The Edge. Dear God, the Edge. Said plan would ultimately fail until Spider-Man 52 revealed that the Life Foundation had worked tirelessly to keep the aliens and their hosts alive. This wouldn't last long, however, as all of these mercenaries would eventually die due to their involvement with the symbiotes, with the other 4 being killed by Scream's host, Donna Diego, who would then be taken out by Venom in retaliation for her blaming the murders on them. Number 12, Angelo Fortuno. Growing disillusioned with the symbiote and its effects on his fragile mental state, Eddie Brock would make the particularly questionable decision to sell the creature off, giving it to Mafia Don Vincente Fortuno after he won the villainous auction. Vincente's son, Angelo, would go on to wear the suit, managing to pick up its abilities uncannily quickly, but not the creature's moral code, making it grow furious when Fortuno tried to flee a fight with Spider-Man, letting him fall to his death in retaliation. Number 11, Mac Gargan. Mac Gargan gained the Venom symbiote after Fortuno's death, with the alien offering the villain greater powers in exchange for killing Spider-Man. Not only would the pair fail to kill Spider-Man, but Gargan would also continually struggle to control the alien, eventually losing control so badly that Gargan found himself eating the left arm of the Steel Spider. The event would mark this version of Venom going totally feral, being a lethal beast-like entity until the US military physically separated the pair, which would devastate Gargan but also allow him to go back to conventional villainy as the Scorpion. Number 10, Ms. Marvel. After tearing the venom from Mac Gargan, the symbiote appears to realize just how powerful Ms. Marvel is. Immediately bonding to her, it takes away her free will and uses her superpowers to fight against Marvel's allies. This doesn't last long, however, as Marvel eventually overloads the creature with her energy, bursting out of it in a vaguely nightmarish scene. Marvel has presumably tried to repress the whole thing though, as no one's mentioned it since. That said, she too now has a piece of the symbiote's genetic code embedded within her. Number 9, Flash Thompson. Flash is arguably the most heroic of all the people to have held the Venom symbiote, helped in no small part by the fact that Flash is one of the few people capable of reasoning with the alien creature. Flash would use the symbiote for heroic deeds after bonding with it upon request of the US military, basically engaging in Black Ops scenarios for the government. Venom would remember Flash the most fondly, and although it would go back to being bonded with Eddie Brock, still cared deeply for the soldier, appearing heartbroken when Flash died in a fight with Red Goblin, going as far as to turn into a tuxedo to respect him when Venom and Brock went to Thompson's funeral. Number 8, Thaddeus Ross. The Venom symbiote would briefly be passed from Flash to the Red Hulk during the events of the Circle of 4 storyline, which saw Flash give Thaddeus Ross the alien in order for him to defeat Blackheart, who was in the process of destroying the world one city at a time. After powering Ross up with the symbiote and the spirit of the Ghost Rider, he's finally able to overcome their powerful enemy. Ross relinquishes the symbiote immediately after they accomplish this, in order to continue his time as Red Hulk without symbiote influence. Number 7, Andy Benton. In one of the more surreal symbiote exchanges, Flash Thompson mistakenly gives his neighbor the Mania symbiote, thinking it to be just a small portion of Venom that would give her limited powers and protect her, instead of Venom's newly created symbiote child. Mania fully bonds onto Andy and would allow her to fight crime in Flash's stead when the man went missing. Andy would eventually lose the symbiote, but would keep the sweet dark magic powers she got on her journeys. Number 6, Dr. Octopus. When Otto Octavius took over Spider-Man's body during the Superior Spider-Man storyline, he naturally used this to his full advantage, which logically included making himself Venom's host. While the symbiote could sense something was amiss with the hero, even his increasingly violent actions wouldn't show the alien that Peter Parker's body had been possessed by Dr. Octopus, and neither did anyone else, as all of Spider-Man's vicious behavior would be blamed on Venom itself. This conflict would lead to Venom totally taking control of Spider-Man's body after succumbing to rage about its situation, only to be expelled from the hero's body by the remnants of Peter Parker still within it. Number 5. The Guardians of the Galaxy. With Flash Thompson having gained the trust of Tony Stark by using Venom to do heroic deeds, Agent Venom gained a promotion that saw him acting as a liaison for the Guardians of the Galaxy, helped by the symbiote's ability to breathe in space. What neither Stark nor Thompson could predict, however, was that being off Earth would drive the symbiote crazy. Placing Venom in closer proximity to the planet where it was created meant that it could sense the Clintar-covered homeworld, which provoked the alien into a fury, possessing Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Drax in a desperate bid to return home. Number 4. Lee Price. After Venom separated from Flash over the symbiote sphere it was negatively influencing the soldier, the creature came upon Lee Price, bonding to Lee to protect him from being shot and killed. This proved an unwise move, as Lee was especially cruel to the symbiote, making the creature do terrible deeds by enforcing its will upon it. After stealing the Mania symbiote to try and forcibly take Venom back, Lee was brutally killed by the Carnage-possessed Cletus Cassidy, who was impersonating Brock at the time. Number 3. Norman Osborn. The Red Goblin is perhaps the most unnerving form that Norman Osborn has ever taken, with the villain bonding to the Carnage symbiote and becoming even more unstable than ever before. He also proved even more difficult to defeat, as after a long battle, Osborn would only be defeated by his own pride, relinquishing the alien creature so he could feel as though he alone struck the final blow on Spider-Man. This plan would fail, and see Parker incinerate the Carnage symbiote once again, destroying Norman's mind due to the link he shared with the alien. Number 2. Mysterio. After a deal with Kingpin to try and get the symbiote goes wrong, Quentin Beck ends up tied to a chair as the crime boss beats down on him, until the Venom fragment they captured takes pity on the man and joins with him. Mercifully, the Master of Illusions has no idea about the symbiote's weaknesses, allowing Spider-Man to use fire to frighten the fragment into joining the rest of the Venom symbiote. Better luck next time, Beck. And number 1, Malekith. While the various symbiotes have flitted around between various hosts since Malekith held Venom, it tends to flit between old hosts as of late, meaning that the Dark Elf is technically the last person the Venom symbiote ever bonded with. During the War of the Realms series, Malekith fought Venom, defeated him, and then realized his usefulness, crafting the symbiote into a dagger when it refused to join the villain's side. While Malekith didn't wear Venom per se, he did wield it, using the beast to mortally wound the Norse god Freyr. This reign of murder doesn't last long, as Thor Odinson regains his ability to wield Mjolnir just to beat the villain down alongside the other Thors of past, present, and future. That was our list. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more regular comics content every week. I've been Ewan, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!